If you're looking for 90s nostalgia of animated series and action figures, then this is a video for you. Hi there and welcome back to Jay's Toy Collection UK for another action figure collection video. And for everybody that grew up in the 1990s with the animated series of Batman, Spider-Man, and of course the X-Men, and this is a video for you with the Mondo 1/6 scale collectibles. If you are new here, hit that subscribe button. Everybody, hit that like button, and of course tickle that notification bell to find out when the next video is going live. But all the action figures are finally here from Mondo, so let's take a look at the complete collection so far. Right, then as we pan up to our first cube, you will see, yes, that's right, absolutely nothing. So this is the shelf made in preparation. And if you've seen this channel before, you know I like to get ahead of the game and get a shelf ready. This is where the Mondo 1/6 scale Spider-Man the animated series figures will go. So I've made myself a backdrop. I've got a double wide IKEA Kallax shelf. We just need some figures. So Mondo last year, I think it's San Diego Comic-Con, started us off with announcements of what's to come from Spider-Man. So we've got regular suit Spidey, we've got black suit Spidey to come, we've got Venom, and hopefully much, much more. I did post a picture on Instagram a few weeks ago of my backdrop, so I've had a few nice comments. So if you want to know what this is, it's just foam board effectively. So it's a bit of foam board with some sort of craft foam. So I've cut out, to the best I can for a 37-year-old man that's not very good at crafts, I've cut out the classic 90s Spider-Man logo from the animated series / the retro packaging of like the sort of Toy Biz figures. And I've tried to make a web pattern there, tried to make my own sort of Spider-Man himself. That was rather complicated, but it will act as a backdrop to the collection. So hopefully these will come out in 2024, but we probably are looking at a lot of those in 2025. So Spidey was my favourite of all the animated series. So let me know your favourite of the animated series we're discussing today in the comments section below. But no figures to show off yet, just a bit of background. Right then, let's go to the X-Men. So we will pan up then to the first of two X-Men collection cubes I've got going on here. So again, I've made a backdrop, so I've gone to try and make sort of like the Toy Biz style card backdrop with the grey writing and the sort of orange background. And there's 4 X-Men figures here. So we start at the back there with the absolute biggest, and he fits in by literally a millimetre. A hair's breadth Omega Red does fit in the collection. So he was a timed Mondo exclusive last year in 2023. Luckily managed to get him because he was limited to 1,000 pieces, but he's absolutely gigantic. Mine's got a slight QC issue on the right leg, slightly wobbly, but does stand perfectly fine in the actual display stand there. Those tentacles, absolutely fantastic. So you will notice with Mondo, they do the cell shading, and they do it really, really well. Much better than you'll find in sort of the Marvel Legends that attempted the cell shading, or even McFarlane Toys has made some random attempt at cell shading. But Mondo really brings the figures to life, and it's literally like the actual characters are coming off the screen. And they couldn't have timed some of these releases better with X-Men 1997 on Disney Plus, which is utterly fantastic. So if you haven't checked out X-Men 97, make sure you do. So of course, Jubilee has to be front and centre for display ones for Rich M. She's got a slip cup there. She's got some sort of chili cheese fries. That is just the regular edition of Jubilee. I wasn't in on Mondo in time to get the actual version that would be the exclusive. So I don't have all the crazy heads and other accessories there. And then we go on to Remy. So here is Gambit then, literally just taken fresh out the packaging. Less than a week ago he turned up here, and he is looking really good. So I missed out on the first release of Gambit on the exclusive, and I thought, oh dear, I'm shit out of luck with this one. I'm not going to be able to complete my X-Men team. But then he had a redo, so they had the standard edition. Again, I think still up for pre-order now. I did get them directly from Mondo, but you can buy the Mondo figures if you're in the UK from Comic and Cocktails. And as you can see, He's literally just gone up there, so my posing isn't really in place. You can see his card effect I've got there at the front. I haven't even got his staff in or even tried to articulate him yet. He just literally went up there. Now I just thought, oh, look at those abs. Look at those abs. What a glorious looking figure. It really is from Mondo. It is literally like the X-Men animated team come to life. And then we'll go over to Wolverine. So he's got his little photo there for Jean Grey. And of course, if we go back, I've got the sort of slashing effect from the intro. Wonder if I can get a funny camera angle right down underneath there. And stand on my tippy toes as we are literally at the top of the toy room. The ceiling is literally there with the Batmobile on top of the collection display. So I'm on the tippiest of tiptoes there to show you Wolverine. But he is looking good. Again, he was probably the first figure, I think, in the line. So they've definitely improved since those days. But there is classic Tiger Stripe Wolverine. So that is the first sort of half of the display. So you've got the first cube of X-Men down into Spider-Man. And you may recognise some of this, of course, because this is the backdrop to my live stream. So if you watch This Week in Toys, every other Friday night, 9 o'clock, will be on This Week. If you're watching it at the time the video goes up, you will recognise this as my backdrop. So it was a sort of spare room / an office, and I thought, right, let's actually try and make this more of a toy display. So in the next part of the video, we've got more X-Men and Batman to come. Right, so before my arms fall off, we're going to try and film the next X-Men shelf, which of course, as I said, is nearly on the ceiling of the room here. If I go to the top, you will see another Batmobile. There is the animated series Batmobile. But let's do the X-Men. So I'm trying to do sort of classic colours of red and yellow for the background there of the X-Men. Again, just cut out of foam board. But let's start with this honking beast at the back there. It, of course, is Sabretooth. One of the biggest figures in the entire toy collection here. He's so wide and, again, so tall with that furry mane. But he does look really cool. He comes with sort of the explosive sort of bomb there. Again, it's just a regular version I've got. Mondo do seem to do like a deluxe sort of timed release and then a sort of single standard release. So that is a standard release of Sabretooth. But there's nothing standard about that face sculpt. Absolutely incredible. So really, really a fan of this X-Men line. And over to Logan then. So here is Logan. Again, an exclusive from last year, which I missed out on. But again, got a sort of standard release. So managed to get the standard release here of Logan. He's literally just turned up from Mondo. The claws are a bit of a pain. You've got to try and insert them yourself. So one's come a bit wobbly there. So I need to try and fix that. He has the X-Men base. But again, he looks just like he does in the classic 1992 animated series, or he does in the 97. So again, a really, really improved face sculpt as opposed to the face sculpt that came with the Logan and masthead in the original Wolverine from Mondo. So looking really, really nice indeed. Right, now over to the master of magnetism himself, the final figure from the X-Men line that is currently available. So far, luckily, I'm up to date and fully complete on the X-Men. Here he is then, Magneto, the master of magnetism. And talking about magnetism, your eyes do not deceive you. That is a magnetic hand. So he's got a magnet in his hand. The accessory's got a magnet. So he's holding his accessories by magnets. That's a lot of word magnets, isn't it? But it is really cool. So look at this cape. I love the detailing on the cape, the cell shading, and a really, really good head sculpt on this figure as well. Some of the best head sculpts, I think, in the entire toy collection are these Mondo figures, and he completes the X-Men figures that are out available at the moment. There will be more to come, though. So Rogue is up for order. I was lucky enough to get in there in those first few minutes before the deluxe version sold out. So I've got the version coming with the Sentinel head base. So I think that's going to be a really nice piece standing in here. And they've teased sort of Cyclops as well from the X-Men. So that is the X-Men figures from the classic 92 animated series. My gateway into Marvel. That was pretty much one of the first series that I saw. So I've got them immortalised in sort of, I think, the best figures available on the market today for the animated stuff is these Mondo figures. They are looking really, really good. So, Spider-Man no figures. That is the X-Men. So that is the Marvel side of things. So before we get to DC, in the comments section, let me know whose figures are the best. Is it the X-Men or is it Batman? Batman versus X-Men. Let's have a look at those Batmans. Who's going to win? And once again, it's time for a little bit of panage. We will pan down to the Batman, the animated series display. So I've got 5 figures from this line. I don't have all of them. I passed on Harley Quinn, and I've not managed to get my hands on Mr. Freeze, one of the earlier figures from the line. So hopefully one day I'm going to win an eBay auction and get a Mr. Freeze. I lost that the other day, and he went for nearly £400. So my goodness, Mondo, if we could get a redo, that would be fantastic. So this is, of course, from the classic Bruce Timm animated series. So I tried to make a bit of a background there, tried to recreate that font, and there is my attempt at hand cutting out in foam board, of course, Batman himself from the series. So I do think it kind of gives a good sort of pop to the shelf, just that little bit of red colour and the writing up there, just representing that animated series of the 90s. Probably the best series, really, of all of them in terms of the animation. It was such an adult series for a kids show. I think it really still does hold up to this day. It is on Netflix here in the UK, if you've never managed to see or want to recapture some of the glory. But here are the figures then. So as I said, get your comments in. Who's going to win this one? The X-Men figures or the Batman? If you had to decide which ones have the better likeness. So there is, of course, Mark Hamill's Joker. What a voice he was to the Joker. Of course, was the Hobgoblin in the Spider-Man, the animated series. So hopefully they'll do a Hobgoblin figure to go with him in the Spider-Man Club at some point next year. But there is the Joker in all his cel-shaded glory. And here is the figure that is responsible for this whole collection. It is the Phantasm then. So, of course, Andrea Beaumont's Phantasm from I think it was 1993, the Mask of the Phantasm movie. Of course, Kenner famously did the spoiler there where they revealed the likeness. And I'm just chatting away like you've all seen it, so I hope you've seen the film, or I've just spoiled it. But, of course, this Mondo figure does come. If you've seen the cheap plug, there is a quick review on the channel of the figure. It does come with the deluxe version here with the Andrea Beaumont likeness that you can interchange. But I saw this figure and thought I have to have it. I do have the DC Direct stuff from Batman the Animated Series, but I just love it so much. So I thought, right, okay, we're in. I'm definitely in on this line. So the Phantasm kicked it off. Catwoman takes a bit of a back seat. She was in the sale, so I picked up Catwoman. Not my favourite design of Catwoman out there. We'd like a nice Michelle Pfeiffer version Hot Toys. Let's get on that, please. But she is in the collection there. And here is Batman himself then. So there's so many we need. We need a Robin. We need a Two-Face. Clayface is always one of my favourites. We need a Riddler. We need a Penguin. This could go on for years. I'm going to need some more space if they keep expanding. But there is that likeness, of course. The Kevin Conroy. What a voice. The voice of the childhood Batman. Oh, what a show. And what a great figure. And then finally over to Man-Bat then. So I didn't get the SDCC version with the 36-inch wingspan. This is just the regular. And he's big enough. He's so heavy. So heavy, must weigh nearly a stone. Absolutely massive. Again, just fits in the figure display there, and you can see the sort of backdrop behind him. But Man-Bat is an absolute beast of a figure, and that is then the second half of the display. So again, that is what you see me usually behind me on the live streams. The Batman shelf is down there, and then up into the X-Men shelf. So that is it, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you've enjoyed the collection. That is my Mondo 1/6 scale animated figures from those 90s animated shows. So again, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Who's going to win out of the figures so far? Is it the X-Men or is it the Batman stuff? It's going to be hard to choose because the likenesses to everything. Mondo have done an incredible job. I really can't understate how good these figures are. And if you haven't got any, then maybe consider jumping on this line. It is a really good line. Most of them are still available, and it really is one of the best lines going. It's just the scale, of course, not my usual 1/12. I've tried to sort of upgrade to the 1/6, so I've mixed all sorts of collections, and as you can see, a few Batmobiles on the top. So that is what's behind me on the live stream. So that's it, ladies and gentlemen. So that is Batman, X-Men, and a Spider-Man backdrop. That's all we got from Spidey. So I'll do an update of this video maybe next year, and hopefully that Spidey shelf is looking full. But if you could hit that like button on the way out, that'd be much appreciated. If you are new, of course, hit that subscribe button. As I always say, tickle that notification bell. But ladies and gentlemen, I've been Jay. This has been Jay's Toy Collection UK, and this has been the Mondo Action Figures.